Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Lights Out, your favorite drum corps talk show. I'm Zach Covert, and right now it's almost lights out, so I'm tired. But lucky for you, today we have an awesome show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about the look of drum corps today, starting off with your morning routine. Then we're going to dip our feet into a little bit of hair, what you need to do to it, how much you need to shave, because that's pretty important if you want to look good. After that, we're going to look at how the uniform fits and why it needs to feel good if you want to look good as well. And lastly, we have an awesome discussion with two good friends of mine who love drum corps and have marched and are just awesome people in general, Greg Banks and Amanda Grundon, who both have some insight for us when it comes to the uniform to costume change that's been going on recently in drum corps. But right now, I'm tired. So let's get to the show. Let's hit lights out. Waking up sucks, but it's an integral part of the day. And how are there those people that can just do it? You know, they wake up before it's time, they have all their stuff packed up and done, their hair nice, their teeth brushed, and then there's you, who wants to sleep in for another 30 minutes. Well, in this Be Like Bobby segment, I think we may be able to help you out a little bit.
Hey.
Ah! I'm ready. Hey man, you ready for today?
Okay, no, this is not how you start your day. Bobby wakes up on time with a smile on his face, and he does his hair. Be like Bobby. Bobby also makes time to brush his teeth and use deodorant.
Hey dude, what's up?
Be like Bobby.
A huge part about look in drum corps is that action shot. Now, how are some people photogenic, right? How is it easy for people to get good action shots? Well, that is a good question. Part of it's shaving. Another part of it is making sure your hair looks good. But a huge part of it is making sure that in the morning routine, you might need to allocate a little bit more time, maybe for a shower, or maybe to, well, shave or do your hair properly. Luckily for you, our next segment in our survival guide will help you out with just that.
First off, if you're ever without a mirror, your phone is a great substitute. Also, make sure that you're always using lubricant while shaving to avoid irritating your skin. It's also a good idea to comb your hair as much as possible. It helps train it. That way you don't have to, say, do it every morning. And if your hair isn't really like mine, I recommend some sort of gel or mat to keep it under control. And if you're a girl who needs to do show hair, have someone else do it.
After your hair starts to look good, it's all up to your uniform. Now, your uniform can kind of be tough to deal with because all it is fitted, and say you may change your shape. You may lose weight, you may gain weight, and then it needs to be refitted. And that can be kind of difficult, not just on you, but on the staff. Nonetheless, it's extremely, extremely important to look good in uniform because you're representing not only yourself, but your corps. So be sure to be vocal. What's the best way to be vocal about it? Well, that's what we're going to test today. We're going to test a 1 out of 10 system. Sadly, we don't have a uniform though, so we're going to improvise. Let's test it out.
No!
To demonstrate a little bit about how comfort and look work in drum corps, I have someone very special from the Zobcast that's willing to help me. So, Clark, come on down.
You were kidding when you said special.
Yeah, I was very much kidding when I said special. You saw this kid in the first episode, and if you frequent his Zobcast, then you definitely know him. Basically, we don't have a uniform here, so we're gonna improvise a little bit.
It was Zach uniform though.
We're gonna duct tape Clark. So after every little bit of duct tape, what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask Clark to give us a rating, right? Of course he's gonna look good, and the more duct tape that he gets put on him, he's gonna look even better. But we just want a comfort rating. We want to see how much is too much.
Oh, we should put in there that I'm extremely claustrophobic, so this might get a little hairy.
We just won't cover his face, and we should be fine. You ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right,
Give
so
it a nice hard tug. Get that like.
Where are you taping first?
I'm gonna get your chest, man.
You're gonna put your hands like that and stay.
By
like
the way,
that.
I'm also very ticklish, so I apologize if I giggle like a little girl.
I need your help, Bobby. Don't duct tape me in, my dude. Clark, whew,
It is very hard to breathe.
you look like a barbarian.
Like it.
All right, man. Can you give me a comfort rating?
Aside from not being able to breathe very well, it's not too bad. I would say it's about a 3 or a 4. If I factor in not being able to breathe, it's like a little bit higher.
10 being, like very uncomfortable. 1 being comfortable.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
maybe like a 5 right now. But I mean, like I have like excellent posture right now. But like,
We still got a lot of duct
Yeah.
tape to go, man.
Yeah, normally the cummerbunds give you great posture.
Yes. Did you expect us to, get you out of here?
I didn't think about that.
How you feeling, Clark?
Not very good. Starting
Alright.
to feel the claustrophobia kicking in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, starting to have a little bit of like a panic.
All right. So before we do your arms, can you give us another rating?
This is up there. This is about a 7, dude.
This is a 7.
This is-
You went from what, a 4 to a 7?
Oh, as soon as we got the legs, I started freaking out more. In terms of feeling like I'm gonna die, this is about a 10. My left arm's feeling a little numb, but like...
From Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the Tape Man.
Oh, I can't even dab, dude.
Final rating. What do you give this look?
This is a 10. This is freaking terrible.
It's too late.
Yeah. No! No!
The last thing we're going to get to today is a little discussion with a couple of my friends about the recent changes that have been happening to the uniforms in Drum Corps. As you may know, a lot of uniforms have changed, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. It really just depends on your opinion of it. But is everyone going to end up doing this soon? Because this is a drastic change. In the past, it used to happen a little bit, but now it seems like everyone's just changing per show. To see if this is a good or a bad thing, we're going to talk a little bit. Let's get to the board of directors. Welcome to the Lights Out Board of Directors. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the uniform change to costumes. To help with this discussion, I have 2 amazing people here with me today. First off, we have Greg Banks. Greg, what do you do?
Oh boy, what do I do? Well, essentially, what I do is, I guess you could call me a benefits counselor. I'm currently in training. I'm a benefits counselor for a company that does employee benefits for their employees. And I also teach high school band with you, which is fun. In fact, I also teach it with our other guest here as well. I guess I start with high school band. I did 5 years of high school band. Amongst those 5 years of high school band, I did 3 years of DCA in the Hawthorne Caballeros. And then I did 4 years of cadets, 09, 10, 11, and 12.
Wow.
I taught C2 for two seasons right after that, which was, what was that, 13 and 14? I've taught Mechanicsburg with Brian Stockard, who was on the previous show, and I teach West Shore, obviously, with you, and then I've also taught East Pennsboro here and there. So a bunch of little groups around the area.
Next we have Amanda Grunden with us. Amanda?
Hi. Yeah, so I know Zach, like Greg knows Zach through Cadets 2 and then teaching West Shore. My day-to-day life includes working for Crump Life Insurance Services as pretty much the WFG agents. I run illustrations for agents that are in the field that are looking to insure clients that are uninsurable, who are like diabetic and whatnot. I've marched 4 years at SURF. 2006, 7, 8, and 9, I actually marched 2 different instruments while I was in the Corps. I did mellophone, then cymbals, mellophone, then cymbals. It was a great time. I teach with Greg at West Shore. We actually met teaching C2 back in 2013. I've actually been teaching high school since I graduated in 2006. Started with Jackson Memorial High School in New Jersey, where I'm from. And then it went from Rancocas Valley, where I first met Nicole Barnes. She's an awesome staple in the Symbol community. Then it progressed to Toms River East, and then when I came out here, I taught CWP in its final year of existence. So sad.
Tears.
I know. Oh,
Tears.
the dream electric. Oh, Travis can come.
Ouch.
Anyway, currently, I teach West Shore High School indoor drumline and outdoor drumline, but who knows where that's going to take me, and maybe I can expand to different groups in the area.
So let's get right into the topic. As you guys, I'm sure know, there has been some changes going on in drum corps for the past couple of years, right? Primarily in the look. Now, I'd call this uniforms to costumes, right?
Yeah.
Not saying costumes is a negative term for it,
No.
right? I mean, costumes make shows sometimes, especially for indoor, right? But it hasn't really been done in outdoor until just recently. So we're going to talk a little bit about maybe some of your guys' opinions, what you guys maybe think about some of these happenings going on in drum corps, and maybe we can come to a conclusion that could make this change really smooth. Right?
We'll see.
So let's go with our first question, right? What are your favorite drum corps uniforms? Now, this is before they changed to, this could be before they changed to costumes, or this could just be someone who kept a uniform that just liked, that you just like.
Obviously, it's going to be cadets. I mean, there's no better uniform than the classiness, and I'm biased because I wore it, but I just think it's incredibly iconic, and it's very hard to change that one and adapt it. When I first put on that uniform, there was a couple people who taught me who marched cadets and wore that same uniform, and the first time I put it on, there was kind of like a surreal moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm wearing this thing, and to know that many people, many generations wore that pretty much the exact same uniform before me, that added weight to it, and I feel like we're starting to lose that. So
Yeah, I kind of agree there too, but I have to say I really like the Blue Coats uniform, the one with the helmet and the feathers coming down the back. I think that was a really great uniform for them. Not so much the new one, but
it wasn't Jersey Surf's.
No. Unfortunately, although I enjoyed my time at Jersey Surf, I wasn't a fan of the swirl. They actually changed uniforms the year after I stopped marching, which would have been my age out year. And those were kind of cool, nice and sleek. Like the little emblem they had, it was like just a little, kind of like a pin with the wave. But I mean, yeah, I think I'd have to go with Blue Coats.
So now let's talk a little bit about the costumes, right? Do you guys have any costumes of today that are your favorite?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a costume, and Greg and I actually talked about this before. I really do like what Carolina Crown has done with their uniforms, costumes. I mean, I think they went from the Purple Pants Band, right? I think that was 1 year. But I think that they kept the original look and the feel of the costume with kind of adapting it to, I guess, today's standards of what people expect drum corps to be, which is kind of indoorish, but yeah. I'd have to go with Carolina Crown.
What do you think?
If you're talking costumes, I would have to say I don't really like any of them. I mean, I don't know. There's a part of me that just thinks it's kind of trendy and just, ever since the Blue Coats won wearing pajamas, everyone seems to kind of hop on board with that trend now, and everyone has to do it. Like I said, it's very hard to do that with something like a cadet uniform, to modernize it with the times, but also keep it. The core identity there is very tricky, specifically with that uniform. Other corps are better at it than some. Primarily, groups like Blue Devils, the Cavaliers. They're very good at modernizing their uniform, but also
Keeping tradition.
keeping their identity about them.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say which one, because there's a different one every year. It's hard to identify one.
Yeah.
Blue Coats came out. Their name's called the Blue Coats, and they came out with all white, and they had black suspenders and Charlie Chaplin top hats. Their names are the Blue Coats, and there wasn't blue on their uniform at all. Mm-mm. So I think there's something to be said there for that as well. I don't know.
So for these next couple questions, I want you guys to put yourself in the position that you say own a corps, and you have the deciding factor of whether or not this corps should transition from uniforms to costumes. What are some concerns do you think you might have of doing this?
Obviously, you got to try to keep up with the times. You have to do whatever you have to do to do what all the other groups are doing. I think where I would struggle with is, again, making sure that the uniform is new and modern, but also sticks with the tradition and the core identity of what they are. That's a very fine line to walk, and I think it's very difficult to pull off, specifically for certain cores, and we've talked about that already.
Man, if I owned a core, holy crap.
That's a lot to think
12
about.
symbols. Just kidding. I can't say I disagree with Greg because I'm kind of in that realm of like idolizing that core uniform that was meant so much to past generations, past marchers, that like, yeah, you want to be modern and yeah, you kind of want to fit in, but you also want to stand out at the same time. So we see this trend that's happening that the cores are switching to costumes, but now it's going to be like, if you're not in the costume, you're going to be an outlier. Is that a good or bad thing though? Like, I think it would still be good because, one, you're not like everybody else. You're still retaining identity. And it really shouldn't matter if you have a great show. Like, who cares what you're wearing? You can be naked on the field and still have a good show. Why is that a deciding factor now? I feel like it is, because we saw Bluecoats win. Like, all of a sudden, oh my god, our uniforms have to be more sleek and modern like them because they won. I don't think that's a good way of thinking. It's kind of like watching the Kardashians. Did you know Kylie Jenner tweeted about the Snapchat change and they lost $1.3 billion?
Oh, yeah, well, it makes sense, yeah.
But in my opinion, back to the question.
Never would have thought we would have got on Kylie
Wow,
Jenner.
okay.
Right?
I thought you would take us there quicker than she did.
Owning a core, traditionally, I would stick with, having the uniform as close to it as the original as possible, but making some modern changes.
I feel like because all these cores are trying to make it like indoor, it's less entertaining now. That's for me personally, but
there's a lot of choreography going on where there should be marching and hard drill sets.
Well, the focus is almost 100% on the theme of it, or the show concept, that I feel like a lot of the music goes by the wayside sometimes. Not necessarily by the wayside, but I feel like it's not the focus anymore, and as a result, you hear less entertaining music. And I'm sure I'll probably have people yelling at me in your comment section or whatever, saying that you're just an old guy who doesn't match up with the times, whatever, but that's what I think.
Wow, we're there now? We're
I don't think it took very long.
generation?
I mean, I'm rolling up on 5 years out of the core now. Or am I? Am I 6 years?
I've been out longer than you have, so.
Wow.
Been out for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been out for 6, I think.
Yeah.
So, based on how you think the activity should progress, now you could think of yourself as either a director, a marching member, or just a fan. All right? Whatever you think, whatever perspective you think. Do you think that the costume change is good for drum corps? Yay or nay?
That's tough because I definitely don't want to stop the core uniforms from evolving. I think that's always happened probably since the beginning of time. At what expense? Because if you have a new identity every year, what does that do? I guess it's not that important in the grand scheme of things, but I like that the cadets look like the cadets. If I look at the new cadet uniform, and I'm not ragging on it per se, because I know you're gonna wear it, but based off of the picture, I'm gonna reserve most of my judgments. There's nothing about it that says cadets to me, and call me old-fashioned, whatever, but I think it's important for the cadets to have a uniform that's like the cadet uniform. It's cadets are the cadets. I'm probably just gonna have to stand on principle and say bad, the way it's going.
So nay.
So nay, whatever. Yes, bad. No, nay, whatever.
No.
Yeah. No.
I think I'll take it as the view if I was marching again. I mean, it'd be really cool to wear like some of the costumes now. But I can't say no either. I'm kind of on the fence, but I guess I will lean more toward. I guess I'm gonna be devil's advocate and say yay, because there are groups out there who do it well.
Yeah, and I'm kind of I'm kind of there with you to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
cadet's uniform is very hard to adapt, and that's where I have to
Well,
be like,
definitely. That's
That's one of the uniforms that
it's so iconic.
it has not really changed much.
So as of right now, we're a little bit torn on whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing. But I guess we're just going to have to see. Maybe it'll turn into a good thing. Maybe it'll turn into a bad thing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, guests, for coming and
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
It's been a
Be
great
just
time.
being awesome, yeah. Glad to have both of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys again for checking out Lights Out and helping us branch into the drum corps community. It's fantastic to be able to do all of this stuff for you, and it's a lot of fun. We love working month by month to try and get some of this content out to you, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Feel free to leave some comments, feel free to like. If you have any suggestions, don't be afraid to put some stuff down there. And yeah, we'll see you next month. So thank you guys so much. See you then.